Hey everyone, it's Daniel from Voiceflow. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an AI assistant that uses 11 labs for a custom voice. So this means you can make a clone of your own voice, a celebrity voice, or use any of the different voices from their lab. Now, this is a great tutorial if you are looking to hook this up to a custom avatar or a custom game, for example. So you can build it on Voiceflow and use the API to connect to whatever front-end interface that you want. It's going to look a little something like this. So I just shared the assistant I created with myself here on my phone. Let's start the conversation.
If you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be and how would you use it?
I would want the ability to fly, so I wouldn't have to walk anymore.
What are some of the places you would want to explore or visit if you had the ability to fly?
I'd probably fly to Mars and see if there were aliens.
That's an interesting choice. If you were to discover aliens on Mars, what would you hope to learn from them, or what questions would you ask?
All right, so let's get into Voiceflow and see how you put this together. So to start off, we're going to go to the functions page. You might already be on this page, but that's voiceflow.com/functions. Inside, we're going to click on the 11 labs function. So we're going to go ahead and give this a download. This is going to allow us to send a text file to 11 labs and get back an audio file. So let's hit download and a JavaScript file will download. If you want to check out what the code looks like, you can see here, but we've got our JavaScript file. So let's go ahead and head over to Voiceflow. So in Voiceflow here, I've created a voice project. So if you're going to create a new project, you go to new and select voice. That's where this will work. And so if I hop in here now, I want to go over to functions and I'm going to hit new function. And I'm going to hit import function and then go ahead and import the file that you just grabbed. So once that's done, you're going to see it here. If you want to go in and modify the code, you want to check it out, just feel free to click in and you can see what's happening here. So just to walk you through, we're just checking if all the input variables have been filled out, and I'll show you how to do this, but you got to load these in from the canvas. And if it is, then we are just making an API call to 11 labs. And once we get it back, we are just extracting and formatting some of the content to get the URL. Once we've gotten the URL, then we are actually creating an audio step and playing the audio data. So now if I go back to my canvas here, if I go into dev and I drag out functions, you'll see that 11 labs is here. And if I click it, then I can start testing it out. So let's try this out. Let's go, this is a test. We're gonna have to grab a voice ID from 11 labs. So I've got one here for Natasha. And I'll drop this in here. And then we need our 11 labs API key. So I've got my API key over here, but you can go ahead and add yours in here. I'll just use this variable, which is being filled, to get the API key. Now, it's going to automatically play the audio, but just in case you want the file, I'm also going to save that to my own variable called audio URL. So let's put these two together and run a test. So this is just going to load my API key into that variable, and then it's going to play it.
This is a test.
Great. So we can see that that worked. So super easy. And what it's doing is it's passing that this is a text to the API. So nothing too complicated here, but let's go ahead and actually start to layer this in with some of the AI tools. So to start off, I want to create a AI persona, so some sort of bot that's asking me a question and then responding back to me. So if I use the set AI step, I'm able to get it to answer a prompt and then save that to a variable. So let's go greet the user with a thought-provoking question. And we're going to save this to a variable called question. Great. So now that I've gotten that, I'm going to hook it up to my 11 labs. And instead of this as a test, I'm going to just use the question that I've just created. So let's go ahead and test this out now.
What is the most important lesson you've learned in life so far?
Awesome. Cool. So that's really cool. It's generating a question, and I'm going to now hook it up to this capture step. So we want to capture the user response. And then we're going to pass it to we're going to do the exact same thing here, except now I've created a little bit more of an advanced prompt saying, hey, you just asked this question, and we'll just use the question variable. The user responded with answer, which we're capturing via this capture step, ask a follow-up question, and I'm giving it memory so it has context of what's happening before. We're going to do the exact same thing here. We're just going to duplicate this API, and we're going to put it in here because it's saving it to question. Great. And now this is question, we should be good. And I'll just have this loop back to this capture step here. So now I should have a back and forth where it generates a question, I answer it, and then based on my answering the question just asked, it asks a follow-up question.
What would the world be like if everyone had the ability to read minds?
Great question. It would be a scary place. Now you can also answer using your voice. I'm just using text for this video.
Why do you think a world where everyone can read minds would be a scary place?
Because everyone would know what I'm thinking.
In what ways do you think a world where everyone can read minds would be scary or uncomfortable for you personally?
And there you have it. That's how you build an AI assistant using 11 Labs. Now, a couple points. If you want to be able to share this with someone or try it out on your mobile phone, for some reason your mic isn't working, if you go ahead and hit share, you can choose to share voice input or chat input. I would recommend sharing chat input just because the actual voice shareable prototype is not optimized for mobile, so it doesn't work on mobile. More meant for just desktop sharing. But the chat one does, so you can just use your mic on your phone like I was doing to be able to do text to speech. Now, the real value of Voiceflow is in the API. And so, it's all fun and games to share this or test it out on the prototype, but really what's valuable here is that Voiceflow has an API that you're able to send an input to and receive an output. If I were to connect this via API to a custom interface, let's say it's a mobile game or a character created or some sort of avatar, I'm able to kind of manage the conversation and really add a lot of complexity. So in this case, it would just receive text and then it would send you the audio file from 11 Labs. Now this comes into use when you're building a more complex assistant. So not just something back and forth like this, but when you're really starting to add on different topics, different intents, different things that people can do. And you want to be able to control what's actually happening or what's being said to the end user. So go ahead, give that a try and let us know what you think. If you do build anything with it, I would love to see it. So please comment below or hit us up on Discord.